What is up, everyone? It is time to review the latest MCU Disney Plus series, or rather, just the first 4 episodes of it, because that's all I've seen thus far. But this right here is my review of She-Hulk Attorney at Law. Of course, a brief synopsis to start here. Tatiana Maslany leads the series as Jennifer Walters, an attorney on the rise who is also Bruce Banner's cousin. Jen becomes a Hulk by accident, and when she returns to work, she's assigned to specialize in superhuman-oriented legal cases. So She-Hulk is different. It's very, very different, actually, than any other MCU movie or show that we've seen thus far. And personally, I like and welcome different because while I do very much value consistency and connected world building in my franchises, doing new things is also absolutely vital to ensuring that they can keep growing. But of course, that could very much run the risk of shows not being for everyone, and honestly, I very much understand that. In this particular case, when it comes to this story, this style, and this tone, I am into it. In general, I am often very drawn to the in-between moments in the MCU. What happens between big battles, when the shows and the films tap into, I guess, the more mundane and relatable corners of characters' lives, and thus far, at least, that is very much what She-Hulk is doing, and I'm loving it. Jen Walters was your average lawyer, focused on building what I might describe as a more traditionally successful law career, and then she becomes a Hulk, and her new superhero status becomes infused with her original day-to-day, and I think the show is delivering a whole lot of comedic gold and also really unique character curiosities, combining those two things. But this MCU series is a comedic legal procedural, and if that is not for you, I would at least encourage you to give it a shot, but I would also very much understand if that is just not the type of show that works for you in this realm. But of course, this right here is my review, and it does very much work for me. I do think that there are a whole handful of praiseworthy elements to She-Hulk, but I have to pinpoint the biggest of the bunch, and of course it's Tatiana Maslany. I was a hardcore Orphan Black fan who overanalyzed that series and her performance for 5 full seasons. Between that and also some of the other shows and films she's done since, I went into She-Hulk with very, very high expectations for her work, and she exceeded those expectations and makes it an all boats rise type of situation where her performance is very, very clearly elevating everything around her. The comedy, the tone, those fourth wall breaks, that stuff just plain old does not work unless you have someone like her in that role. And also, neither does this whole idea that Jen is a superpowered individual who doesn't want to be a superhero and needs to find a way to merge her new reality with the version of her life that she thought she would be pursuing. And that dichotomy does very much have a whole lot of comedic value to it, but it's also an especially rich character headspace to explore, and Maslany does a pretty brilliant job tapping into that push-pull in these first 4 episodes of the show. But with that, I do have to emphasize that I really like what I've seen so far in that respect. But again, I've seen 4 episodes, and that is something that I really am hoping that the series continues exploring, because I just get this feeling that that's going to be a major factor when assessing how satisfied I am by the show overall. In terms of what Maslany's work in the show improves, I have a feeling some of you know where I'm going with this, but it's the VFX that I have to name. If you've been watching episodes of The Merry Hour, you know that I was pretty disappointed by the quality of the VFX in the She-Hulk trailers, but I do know that bringing a character like this to screen in a fully believable way isn't an easy task. In fact, I think it teeters close to being totally impossible. But I've been thinking about this a lot lately. I've always pretty much been on board with how Mark Ruffalo looks as the Hulk in this franchise, but I can also easily, throw on my perfectionist hat and pinpoint elements of that design that could be stronger. But then again, I don't work in VFX. Those people are wizards, and I have absolutely no clue what it really takes to bring things like that to that next level. But the point being here, in general with She-Hulk in the final product, I do think that the VFX work is pretty much always average or above average. There were moments in the first 4 episodes where I caught myself thinking, like, this right here, this is as close to perfect as you can get bringing this character to screen. But then there would be another moment where I couldn't help but think that, She-Hulk looks and moves a lot like a character from The Sims. But even then, it is still solid movie magic. And then that's where Maslany's brilliance comes into play, because whenever suspension of disbelief just won't do it for you with the VFX alone, there she is to provide that added nudge to make it all work and make you believe. Of course, another big thing with this She-Hulk show is the fact that there's a whole bunch of cameos, and I know there has been some concern expressed over reliance on cameos here, and, running the risk of it not feeling like a She-Hulk show because there are so many familiar faces involved, and I didn't find either thing to be the case. In fact, to me, this story kind of necessitated those cameos. I mean, Jen is an attorney who works on superhuman-oriented cases. Of course, superhuman characters we've met throughout 14 years worth of this Marvel content were gonna pop up in the show. I think it would have been weird if they didn't pop up, but then on top of that, when they do come into play in the show, their cases test Jen as an individual as well. Their situations are key to her figuring out the kind of superhuman lawyer she wants to be, and also the kind of person she wants to be in general. So ultimately, I think the cameos do very much service the procedural structure of the show, but also Jen's individual character arc as well. A couple other things I want to touch on before winding this down. I am especially enjoying Maslany's chemistry with Ginger Gonzaga, who plays Nikki. She's Jen's paralegal. Their back and forths are often perfectly paced, energetic, and their connection is simply something that I just very much enjoyed spending time exploring. And per usual, Benedict Wong is an absolute joy as Wong. And then I also have to highlight Patty Guggenheim. She pops up in episode 4 as Madison, and hopefully you'll understand this more when you see that episode for yourselves, but I just feel like that type of character either works or just does not at all, and the only way to make it work is via a pitch-perfect performance from an actor who very clearly understands what it takes to make that type of character work, and I was just so thrilled by how well Guggenheim pulls that off, so look out for her as well. All right, let's score She-Hulk. I'm going to give the first 4 episodes of this show 4 Deweys out of 5 on the Dewey Decimovie scale. And with that, yes, I am going to keep the Dewey Decimovie scale on this channel. Might be hard for me to say for a while, but Dewey was key to the foundation of this channel through the rating system, of course, but also just being an invaluable source of encouragement when I first was afraid of starting this channel and getting into it. And from then on, this was a space that I shared with him, a space that he made better, and I will forever honor him here through the Dewey Decimovie scale. So it is here to stay. All right, back to She-Hulk. I clearly very much enjoyed the first episodes of this show. As with all MCU shows, I can't guarantee that my feelings will remain the same after I watch the full series, but at this point in time, I really like the kind of different that they're tapping into and exploring here. I am just totally enamored by Maslany's work in this show and what she's able to accomplish in that role, so I am at a point where I'm very, very eager to see more. All right, that is where I'm going to leave you with this one. Before I let you go, though, I need to let you know that this review is coming your way, courtesy of a wonderful Patreon supporter, and that supporter is Ian. Ian, you are one of the best of the best. Thank you so much for being here, for supporting this channel, and being such an awesome person to talk to on a regular basis. But that's not going to stop me from kicking your butt in fantasy football. Game is on soon, and I can't wait for it. Big thank you to everybody out there for watching this review. Please do not leave without liking and sharing it, and I'll see you soon with more of them.